All right, guys, I'm excited to have Michael Sandman come on the Hungry for More call today. This young man at 19 years of age went out and helped over 600 families last year. And so today he's going to jump on with us, pour into us, share what he did, how he did it, so that way you guys can take that, implement that into your business, and go ahead and help start helping more families. Can't talk today, obviously. So, Mike, you there, my man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Awesome, brother. Well, hey, I don't think a lot of people on here know who you are. So give us 60 seconds, 2 minutes of, your background, where you're from, kind of how you found Family First Life. What did your journey here start like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, again, dude, I appreciate you having me on. I know I met you at convention. Your energy is, dude, amazing. So I'm super pumped. So yeah, I mean, I would say about 2 years ago, I moved I was 18 years old and I moved to Florida from Louisiana. I didn't know anybody here. And when I got down here, I was, it was right when COVID hit. So, everybody was losing their jobs. So it was hard enough finding one, right? But me and my brother came down here. We didn't have no money or anything, but we just wanted out of where we were. Long story short, my friend was doing life insurance with a different company. And he told me, he's like, dude, I made this amount on Monday. And it was like, wow, it takes me a week to make that. And I'm like, dude, sign me up. So I contacted the same company that he was with. I contacted a sales rep here in Tampa. And he sent me the course, and I'll never forget. I went to a parking lot and I studied for about 10 minutes. And I stopped because when I was in idle because I was living out of my car. So if I was in idle for more than like 10 minutes, the AC would stop working. So I was like, man, the Florida heat, studying this 40-hour exam, there ain't no way I'm doing this. So I quit. Then, obviously you have 30 days and it expires. The course expired. Anyways, 3 months later, I was doing like DoorDash. I was doing DoorDash full time. And I was, man, I tell you what, if you guys, I'm sure everybody knows what DoorDash is. It doesn't pay a lot. And I was hustling, and to live down here, to live anywhere now, it costs money, the cost of rent, the cost of, just your everyday living expenses, it just wasn't going to cut it. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to look back into the life insurance industry. And I did. And I did a lot of my own research this time. I didn't just dive into the first company that I saw. I actually reached out to about 10 to 12 different people. And yeah, man, I reached out to so many different people. I was just seeing, who would, give me a shot. You know what I'm saying? And once I reached out to Eric, he opened up the office here about like a week before. I reached out to him, and he's like, dude, meet me in my office in an hour. And I did. I met him at his office an hour, and he enrolled me in the course right then. He's like, you got a week to take the test. And I was like, man, so it's been from that point till now, man, it's been a crazy journey, but I'm here. And I never look back, because at the end of the day, there was no plan B for myself. I just knew that I had to go all in and give it all I had.
So, all right. So, dude, first off, that's a pretty wild story, right? I think you probably had it rougher than most people have it starting in this company, right? So it sounds like you didn't have a lot of money when you started. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely. I still have the screenshot where I had a maxed out credit card and like $3. It was crazy.
You showed me that screenshot actually at convention, and I was blown away. I was like, holy crap, like this is for real, right? So, all right. So I asked that intentionally because, you're building an agency now, and you see when people come on board to our company, sometimes people don't have a lot of money to start, right? So what did you do when you started that helped you get going, since you didn't have a lot of money? What did that look like for you? Because I think there's some folks on here that might resonate with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like that was what turned everything around for myself, but obviously it was very difficult in the very beginning. When I initially started, I remember my direct manager, he gave me like 60, a year and a half old leads. And he's like, just go dial them. Right. And I dialed them, and I booked, I think, like 7 to 10 appointments, and I made a couple sales. But for me, I was young and dumb, and I wouldn't say that I'm sure young and dumb, but I with the deposits that I got, I blew it all. Dude, I was like, man, I made $600. I made like $600 in 30 minutes. It was like, dude, I'm going to go spend it. So I went out and I went on a spending rant. I never had that much money come to me that quick. And after that, I remember I come into the office one day, and it was like I had no leads, man. And I was like, man, what am I going to do? So I remember I ended up making a couple other sales, but on the second time that I made, the couple sales that I did, I reinvested, right? I reinvested into like my first 5 to 6 months, all I did was like internet leads. And I had to make that work until I had the capital to maybe incorporate a little bit of direct mail. And my first couple of months, man, it was just, I feel like what changed for myself, and I know this was something that we were talking about earlier, was dialing, man. And I know everybody on this call has heard this 9 million times, everybody. But for myself, it was just dialing from, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I would stop at about 9:30 that night. And if I dialed for 13 and a half hours, there was no way that I just wouldn't fail, and I didn't. I just made sure that I was glued to my chair. And as long as I'd done that, for 13 and a half hours, I was at least going to book an appointment an hour. And if I could book up 13 appointments, I could, supplement with door knocks. So in the very beginning, man, it was just really extinguishing my leads and ringing out every single lead that I had and resolving every single one so I could be as profitable as possible in order for me to have the capital to spend more every week. Because it took me like 5 to 6 months to get to that point. Once I got to that point, I remember one of the guys I work with, he's like, dude, why don't you spend $2,000 every single week this month? I was like, dude, there's no way. Dude, it took me a month and a half to make that at my previous job. There's no shot in the world I'm going to do that. But I did. I took, I was like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. I end up saving like $5,000 to $10,000 in my account. And I done it. And that month I helped 71 families. And I was like, dude.
So hold on. That's big, right? So we gotta rewind the tape a little bit, right? Because there was a lot that you said there, right? So it took you 5 to 6 months to help 20 families in a month, right?
It took me a couple months for 20 families. And then I eventually, it took a couple months. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So there's some people on here striving to hit 20 families a month, right? So let's dive into that first, and then we kind of can go forward, right? Because I think that journey, Michael, I went through, and it took me multiple months as well, right? Like I started in October. I didn't hit 20 families, I think it was till March or April. I can't remember. So it was around 6-7 months having industry experience, right? So talk to us about that experience, right? So when you went from, how did you get to help 20 families a month, and what did that journey look like over those few months to get you there?
Yeah, absolutely. So to get to 20K, that was the first milestone. My first couple months, I felt like I was barely breaking even. And then I know a lot of, I'm sure some agents can resonate with that. For me, it was just making sure when I got leads, my thing was, now I buy leads, every single week, it has every single week. I make sure I buy leads, in some ways, if I not, I don't know, but I try to make sure I buy leads every single week. In the very beginning, I didn't have any money. So what I personally did is I heard so many people say this, you either have time or you have money. And I promise you, I didn't have any money. So I had a lot of time. So I was willing to put in that time. And I knew that regardless of whether I had, because you can get old leads anywhere, I promise you. You can access, somebody will give you a bunch of their old leads. And that was what I was willing to go through, was just a ton of old leads that my manager gave me. And I dialed all day. That was it. And I know as simple as that sounds, but that's what catapulted me to 5 families a week to 20 families a month. And if you 5 families a week, when you really break that down, that's really not that hard. You know what I'm saying? That's like one app a day. You do one app a day for an average of like $100 a month. You do that you do that 4 times a week. That's 5 families a week. And then you do that 4 times a month. That's 20 families a month. And when somebody broke that down to me, I was like, dude, what am I doing? How am I not achieving that? Like, that sounds so easy. So I knew that if I could at least book up 8 per day, I knew, as bad as I was in the home, which I'm still not that good, but I knew that I could at least write one app, like one app. That's it. That's all I needed was one app. And I started doing that. And then the thing with me was consistency, dude. Dude, you talk about lack of discipline, dude. That was me, dude. Everything you could possibly think of. Anything that like an agent would come in and be bad at. That was me when I started. You know, I didn't want to dial. I remember one day I came into the office. It was 8 o'clock in the morning. I was leaving by 10 a.m. and Eric Anthony's like, dude, where the are you going? I was like, dude, I'm leaving. I dialed through all my leads. He said, no, dude, you need to dial through each lead 27 times. I was like, dude, 27 times. But I done that, and I legitimately, if I did, I said, you know what, I'm gonna sit here. And if I don't dial them 27 times and it's 9:30, then I'm gonna leave. But that's what I did, man. My goal was one app a day, get a ton of old leads, and just one app. That's it. That's all I need. One app for an average of $100 a month. I knew that could get me to 20K. And the thing is, if I would do that, and I got better on the phone, and I got better in the home, and I bought more leads, that was just going to catapult me to helping 40, 50, 60 families a month. But that's how I broke it down in the very beginning to get myself to that point. All I needed was one app a day for $100 a month. And if I do that, 4 times a week, 4 times a month, that would get me to 20 families.
Okay. So let's break down a few things. First off, how many of you can do one application a day? If you think you can do one application a day, drop a 1 in the chat. If you don't think you can do one app a day, we got to talk about your belief system, right? What are you like? What do you believe in? Because if you can't believe in helping one family a day, there's some stuff that we got to work through there, some doubt, some fear, whatever that is, right? But let's take a step back, Michael, because I think there's 2 things that you probably experienced that maybe you didn't touch on, but I think some people in their early stages of this career, including myself, went through. Number 1 is when you started and you had no money and you were focused on helping families, how did you avoid having commission breath? How did you avoid not like, damn, I got $3 in my freaking bank account. I need to make a sale today or I'm not going to have money for gas, right? So I think that's number 1. And then number 2, what did you do to change your discipline, right? You're an 18-year-old young man. You're leaving at 10. You're like, I'm done. I'm cool. And then, your manager says, no, sit your down and dial, right? But what did that look like for you? Because it's not a switch for everybody, right? And so talk to us about those 2 things, commission breath, avoiding that, and then number 2, having the discipline to be consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing, commission breath, man, that was something that I definitely experienced was that, and going into homes and they just, the client knows when you're just there to try to sell them, right? In the beginning, what helped me avoid that was my second policy I ever wrote, chargeback. Like I wrote it in a chargeback. And the money that I made, I spent. Now I had no money. Now I was in the hole. I just didn't want to feel that again. Once I felt that, it was like, dude, that I never want to be in that position ever again. And that's what helped me not have commission breath and, making sure that, on a weekly basis that I was, being committed in every aspect of the business and discipline, the phones, dialing leads, everything, and in the home, man, that was something that I struggled with so much, dude. My first 6 months, dude, I was a train wreck in the home. And then when I started coming from a standpoint of, really just showing the client that I cared, and I would legit tell him this, if you get this today, I'm not buying a new car. And if you don't get it, if you get this today, I'm not going to go buy a new car. And if you don't get it, I'm going to still sleep tonight. So whether you get this or not, it really doesn't affect me in any way. But the position that your beneficiary is going to be in if you were to not come home tonight. And ultimately coming from and explaining it like that really, really helped. And I was like, look, I'm going to get paid regardless, whether you get this or you don't. And I will get paid. Somebody else is going to eventually buy from me, and I told him that. And like saying a lot of things like that, dude, helped me tremendously with, commission breath. Second thing is, the discipline part, dude. Holy cow, dude. Like I said, dude, it took me 6-7 months. My thing was, I didn't feel like I was profitable, and I was sick and tired of that, man. So what I did is I became obsessed with the appointment count. And regardless of whether it took me 2 hours to book 16 appointments or it took me 14 hours, I was becoming obsessed with that. And that took a lot of discipline, because I promise you a majority of the days I come in here, it didn't take me 2 hours. It took me, sometimes all day, because I wasn't that good on the phone, and once I became obsessed with that and was super disciplined, like that was it. Just becoming obsessed with 16 appointments every 2 days. That was it. That's all I had to do. I knew if I'd done that, it didn't matter how bad I was. I was going to, book 30, sit with 20, and I was going to help 10 to 15 every single week. And in order to get that, obviously you got to have the right lead flow. That's why, I said a couple minutes ago that the month that I, helped 71 families was when I spent $2,000 every single week on leads. And that's what I tell all my agents coming on now. Like, your goal eventually should be to spend not a dime less than 2,000 every single week on leads, whether you help 20 families that week or you help 2. Like, you got to make sure that that's a commitment, and you got to commit to that. And from the month that I done that was last April, I spent 2,000 every single week. From April to December, there wasn't a week that I spent less than 2,000 every single week. And when you automate your lead flow, it automates your deposits, and it forces you to go to work too. And that's another thing, man, was me putting myself in a position where I was forced to go to work, because if I spent 2,000, I promise you, anybody on this call, if they spent $2,000 on leads, nobody's going to be staring at them. They're going to be dialing them. They're going to be running. So that was the key thing, man, was becoming obsessed with the appointment count, being disciplined to that. And that solved everything. And also becoming obsessed with spending at least 2,000. Like, I started spending 3,000, because you can on average 5x your investment. I'll never forget when I first started. It was like my first week in the business. I remember a video Grady Polson said, on average, you can 5x your investment. I was like, dude, well, why the heck am I spending $200 when I can spend 2,000 and 5x that to 10 families a week? I was like, and then once I did that last April, I was like, dude, 2,000 gets me 10 families. Why can't I do 3,000? That'll get me 15 families. And that's where, like, it really just was out of, like, I never thought I would have, scaled to where it did, but it wasn't because of me. It was just because I spent the amount, like, every single week, I at least spent, $2 to $3 grand a week on leads. And I was obsessed with 32 appointments a week.
So you said a lot of great things in there, bro. So first off, I like what you said. Whether you buy today, I'm not going to go buy a new car. If you don't buy, I'm still going to get paid. So what that does is that takes away all the sales pressure, right? I'm not here to sell you. Listen, if you sign up, great. If you don't sign up, that's great too, right? Either way, I'm going to be fine. So if you're dealing with that, or you feel like you're dealing with that, implement that into your business, right? I say something like, listen, hey, Bob, if you do decide to get coverage today, it's not going to impact me one way or another. If you don't get any coverage today, your family's going to be the one that's impacted, not mine, right? So whether you do something today or not, I'm not impacted, only you and your family are, right? So whatever your words are, Mike, I think you say it better than I do, but however you word it for yourself, I think reducing sales pressure will allow people to make a decision, and you got to put them in a position to buy, right? So if you're not selling, but are you putting your clients in a position to buy, right? And then, dude, I think when you automate your lead flow, so I don't know about you, but like before you automated your lead flow, did you ever catch yourself, like, you buy leads 1 week, then you work them for a week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, right? And then you're like, damn, why am I not selling as much? Oh, I didn't buy any new leads in a while, right? But then as soon as you automate it, you get leads every week on clockwork, you're forced to work, like you said, because you and I don't want to waste any money. We didn't have any money to come here with, right? So to just give it away is not something we're going to do. So,
Yeah,
so that's key. And if you guys haven't found a lead flow to automate, then you have to keep yourself accountable and at least buy leads the same day every week. So you have new leads every single dial day, right? That's the key. So Michael, tell us a little bit about, actually, let's do one thing. Let's talk about your phone script, because obviously you said you really focus on mastering the phones, right? Are you the type of guy that you have the same script regardless of the lead type you use, and you just change kind of the intro? Do you do something a little different? What does that look like? Or can we role play?
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, in my script is the same. I do try to be as conversational as possible, because when I started, I was like, I was reading a book to the client, and they sensed that and hung up on me. It was like, I couldn't do that. But also the only way to get better is simply with repetition, right? So, for me, it was just finding a phone script that worked for me. And it's when you listen to a ton of, there's so many people in this business that are insanely good at the phone, and once I just implemented a couple of different things from a couple of different people, it really helped me. So yeah, dude, we can definitely role play.
let's role play. Let's book an internet lead, because I think most people have experience doing internet leads.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. So ring ring.
Hello?
Hello, Julius.
Yeah.
Hey, Julius. Good afternoon. This is John. I'm just getting back to you from the Senior Benefits Office right here in Hillsborough County. And we're just getting back to you in regards to this form that you filled out online. It looks like here this was for the new state regulated life insurance programs. You put down here your date of birth is August 3rd of 1988. Is that correct?
Yep.
Perfect. And it looks like here you also put down your address is 123 Main Street right there in Tampa. Is that correct as well?
That is correct.
Perfect. So Julius, again, my name's John. I'm going to get you right off the phone. But I was just the local field underwriter that got assigned to make sure we get this information delivered back out to the correct address so we can show you what you can qualify for. Now, Julius, exactly how these programs work, they're exactly how you read. They're non-medical, so there's no physical exam required. They don't require to draw any blood, no needles, nothing like that. But because they're non-medical, they do make me verify that you're not 700 pounds or, you're not smoking on a cigarette while hooked up to an oxygen tank at the same time, right? So, Julius, would you happen to currently be working, retired, or disabled?
I'm working.
You're working. Okay. And I'm assuming that's Monday through Friday or?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So here's the thing. The whole purpose of the call is just because over the next 2 days, all day tomorrow, which is Tuesday, and all day Wednesday, the office is actually dispatching us out. We're going to be here in Tampa, also in the surrounding county, seeing about 16 different people. Now, here's the thing. I don't have a lot of time, but I think I can possibly squeeze you in. It looks like here, are you typically more of an afternoon person, or do you typically get home from work in the evening time?
Evening.
Evening, okay. And roughly about what time do you get home from work?
6.
6, okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do for you, Julius, is I'm going to actually put you down between 6:30 and 7:30 tomorrow. Again, that's between 6:30 and 7:30. Now, one quick thing, though, before I get you off the phone, the numbers that I'm reading here, the 123, they're on Main Street. When I pull up to the house, am I going to be able to see that on the mailbox, or am I going to see that on the house?
It'll be on the house.
It'll be on the house. Perfect. And then this number here, would this happen to be your cell phone number or your home number?
My cell.
Okay. Is it okay if I shoot you a text message just confirming the date and time of the appointment?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, perfect. Well, Julius, I got you down between 6:30 and 7:30 on Tuesday. Again, that's between 6:30 and 7:30 on Tuesday. Listen, Julius, you can go ahead and just add me to your calendar. So and I'm going to go ahead and add you to mine now so I do not forget. But we'll look forward to seeing and helping you then. And you have a blessed rest of your day. And at the end of the phone call, after they hang up, what I'll do is I'll shoot them a text message, okay? And at the bottom of the text message, so it'll just be like appointment between 6:30 and 7:30 on Tuesday. And then I'll give them the date. So it'll be appointment between 6:30 and 7:30 on Tuesday, April 19th. And then at the bottom, I'll put, this is a no reply text message. So it minimizes the amount of people that are going to try to call and cancel. So many times I would go and knock on the door. I started doing this 8 months ago. I would knock on the door and they'd be like, oh my goodness, I was wanting to cancel this, but it showed on the text message I couldn't respond. I was like, Miss Mary, I don't know what that was. Do you have a flat surface I can sit this down on? Bam, I'm in the home.
That's awesome, dude. I love it. Guys, if you're texting your clients, I'm going to add that. I didn't do that. So that's money, dude. So thank you. So if you're texting your clients, this is a no reply message. So great job, man. I like that. So, and guys, if you didn't pick up on it, did you notice how his tone changed as soon as he started booking the appointment, right? So he went right into work mode, and work mode, Michael, is very different than booking Michael, right? So you slow down purposefully. You're talking to a different audience. You're changing your demeanor, your approach, and your attitude and your tone to match your clients, which allows them to really think it's very conversational and natural, which is going to keep them on the phone. So awesome, man.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about some in-home stuff, right? I mean, 80% of this business is getting to the home, booking an appointment, but what are some Michael Sandman isms that you say in the home that everyone listening today can take and implement into their presentation? We all know how to do the financial inventory, right? But what are some things you say kind of like you said earlier, where, hey, it doesn't matter if, you buy today, I'm not buying a car. If you don't, I'm not retired, I'm still getting paid, whatever. What are some other things you say that maybe helped you? Like, do you have to overcome your age? Do you have to overcome, what are some other things you've maybe had to overcome or say to make sure you're increasing your probability of helping a family?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'll do is I'll give you like a brief couple minute summary of exactly what I do. So I do everything digital. I don't do anything on any physical paper. Some people do, it's preference. It doesn't matter whether you do or you don't. I just make sure I have the lead, a PDF file in my iPad. And then once I get to the door, I, like everybody says, straight to the table. The business isn't done on the couch, but if they don't have a table, then, I've written policies on the back of my car, Walmart parking lots, anywhere, so yeah, as soon as I get in there, I ask a specific question, and I've been asking this question for the last 8-9 months. Like it never changes. I ask the same question every single time I go into the home. I'll show them the lead and I'll say, hey, Bob, so if you could just verify this was the card, the form you filled out online or the card you filled out in the mail. And they'll be like, yeah, that's what I filled out. Perfect. So I say, so Bob, when you filled this out, who was the beneficiary that you were looking to protect? And what was your main concern when you filled this out? It's that simple. That's all I ask. And I've been doing that for the last 8 months. I felt like that really helped me catapult to Hall of Fame. That like literally changed that, and it helped me so significantly. One thing is that question is not a general question. That's a very direct question. Ask them who their beneficiary is. It's not saying, hey, Bob, why'd you fill this out? That's a very general question. They can literally come back with so many different things. You walk into the house, ask Bob, why did he fill it out? He could tell you, hey, bud, I was looking for quotes. He tells you he's looking for quotes, you're already off to a bad start.
Yeah.
So I asked him directly, who was the beneficiary that you were looking to protect? Not that you had in mind exactly that. And what was your main concern when you filled this out? And this was with any type of lead. I know something came up in the chat. Any type of lead, I asked that. And so the very first thing, and then obviously if it's a husband and wife, then it's obvious who the beneficiaries are. I'll just re-strategize the question and say, what was the motivating factor? And what was your main concern when filling this out? And then from there, they'll say that like my beneficiary, what's the first thing that's going to come to their head when you ask them? The first thing coming out of your head, and when first thing coming out of your mouth is who was the beneficiary? They're going to answer that accordingly. They're going to say my son or my daughter or my wife. They're going to tell you who that is. And then from there, you say, okay, perfect. So obviously your beneficiary is your wife, Mary. Now, what was your overall main concern regarding, filling this out and sending it in? And from there, this helped me, dude, so much. I'm sure some people have, on this call hear this, but dude, this literally, I felt like catapulted me. It helped me and tremendously was from there. So let's assume that it's right now, I know it's 4:31 where I'm at. As soon as I ask that question, I'll look at my time. If it says 4:31, then I'm not going to open my binder. I'm not going to do anything else until it says at least minimum 4:36 for 5 minutes straight. I'm just going to really dissect and really, really try to dig on the why as much as possible. So like, Bob, your wife, Mary.
Let's role play. So let's give them a live example, right? Rather than, so you ask me that question, I'll repeat and we'll go for a few moments.
Yeah, absolutely. So Julius, when you filled this form out online and you submitted it to the office, who was the beneficiary that you were looking to protect? And what was your main concern when you filled this out?
I was looking to protect my daughter. Her name's Bella. And I just want to make sure if something, God forbid, happened to me, that she's taken care of and she doesn't have to worry about finances.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And is Bella, is she married? Is she single, or is she currently residing with you? What does that situation look like?
So she's 10 years old. She lives with me half the time. And so I just want to make sure that she just doesn't have any financial struggles if something happens to me.
Absolutely. So is there any additional people other than you and your daughter that currently reside in the home?
No.
Okay, just you and her. Okay. And were you looking, I mean, obviously, you want to make sure you leave some money behind, was the main intention of this was to make sure that she, wouldn't lose the home, or she would have the money to take care of your burial, or you just wanted to leave a legacy?
A little bit of not losing the home, leaving a legacy, and just making sure that, she can pay for college and things like that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And obviously with her being 10 years old, she's probably not too knowledgeable about the whole process, right? But if God forbid, you were to pass away yesterday, what would that look like for her? Like, who would be the one assisting her with maintaining this home, with her obviously being 10 years old?
Yeah, I mean, she probably would be with her mom, and then my family would help out as need be, either my brother or my parents. So I'd probably have to figure out how to do that to leave my daughter the house, but also leveraging my family.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm assuming your family, they probably have mortgages of their own, right? A lot of bills of their
Sure.
own.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, if and you don't have any protection currently in place.
no.
Okay. Well, let me ask you something. If God forbid you would have passed away yesterday, what does that look like for your family in terms of maintaining all of their own bills and their own mortgage on top of your, $1,300 mortgage?
They might be able to pull it off, but it'd probably be tough. They probably would all have to chip in a little bit.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to put them in that type of position.
I see. So I'm assuming, Julius, that was the motivating factor of filling this out, and that's probably why we're here today.
100%. Yep, that's it.
Okay, cool. So Julius, and then from there, I'll go straight into it. So as long as I know exactly why, and I asked a lot of questions there, then I go, okay, perfect. Julius, now that's exactly what I do. What my job is very simple. And then from there, I will show them my state license. I say, here's my license. This is my state license. If you want to look up my state license through the state of Florida, feel free to do so. You can pull up all my information, all my personal information is right there. One thing that I heard, man, this helped me so much. This was over a year ago, I heard this. Grady Polson says, increase in credibility decreases sales pressure. And I'm sure everybody's heard that. I implemented that. The month I implemented that, I helped 27 families. And I was not a 20K a month producer. I was a 8 to 10 families a month guy. So what I done is I started bringing in, I have my ID, my personal driver's license. I bring in obviously my state license. I say, you know what, Bob, here's the thing. If you're under 21, it's vertical. If you're over 21, it's horizontal. Some people think it's fake. But I say, here's my address. All my personal information's on here. I tell them this. I say, if you're ever in my area, you want to come knock on my door, you feel free to do so. And I feel like once I started doing that, I never, my first 50 people I sat with, probably half of them told me they were not going to give me their social. Why? Because they didn't trust me. And I feel like that's the number one obstacle that a lot of younger agents, face, is the credibility factor. So once I started increasing all this credibility, me personally, this might be a little overboard, but this helps me so significantly. So I have a copy. I took a copy of my social, I laminated it, and I don't show them my social, obviously, but I address it. I say, so Bob, here's the thing, as well as I do, to get protection anywhere, it doesn't matter if you go to Allstate, you go to Progressive, or heck, me and you hop in the car and go to State Farm, right? What are the two things they're going to ask us for, right? They're going to ask you for your ID and your social, right? So that right there, if I do that in the very beginning, 199 out of 100 people will give me their social security number. That'll never be a problem. And after that, then I go obviously straight into the credibility sheet, show them I work with all these different companies, carriers. Bam, everybody on here knows how to do the financial inventory, very self-explanatory. And a couple things I say is, it's here's the thing, Bob, unfortunately, I'm not the decision maker. It's the company. If it was up to me, I would approve everybody. So unfortunately, they don't allow us to, the only thing I can do today is get the request to the company for them to make the ultimate decision on whether you're approved or not. Does that make sense? And I feel like that decreases a lot of sales pressure too, where they're not thinking, hey, I'm going to have to make a decision, submit an application, give banking social, and have the, keep the policy, so I do that. And then application process at the very end, I feel like this is key in terms of, keeping policies on the books, because the thing is you can help 20 families a month, but if half of them fall off, you're not very profitable. So a couple of things that I do is just at the very end, obviously leave them my business card, the carrier. As you guys can see here, this is something that I made up. As you can see here, name, benefit, carrier, policy number, monthly premium. As you can see on the back, it says 1, 2, and 3. When I'm done with the appointment, I'll hand them the pen and I'll say, so Bob, if you could just do me a favor, if you could write down 3 reasons why you've done this today. Bam, they write down 3 reasons why they've done it. Their information of the policies on the front. And one key thing though, and this is something that's so key when I get them to do this, is when I leave them my business card, you put their business card on the back of this. So when they ever go to call you to cancel, what are the three things they're reading? They're reading the three things why they done it initially when they filled the form out. And a couple things is, I'm like, Bob, so here's the thing, I know you're not going to cancel this, but if that's your intention, I'd hate to even submit this today. So here's the thing. If I do, receive any cancellations or any missed payments, then what they're going to do is they're going to email me to my direct, my email. I'm going to wake up, see that. If I see that, and if I'm ever back in your area, you see me knocking on your door, you'll know why. Bam. Really, really helps. And then I actually personally snap a photo with the client. And then once I leave, I text them our picture that we took together. And I tell them, thank you for allowing me to protect your family. If you ever need anything, please call me. So that's kind of a summarization from the beginning to end of exactly what the process looks like. Hopefully that helped.
Dude, that was great. And I'm assuming when you started, you didn't do all those things, right? You implemented, you tweaked, you tried some stuff, you tested, right? Like you went, all these things you've learned over time, and it's accumulation of effort, knowledge, repetition, which turns into skill. Would you agree?
Absolutely. 100%.
So guys, if there's some things in here that you're pulling from Michael's presentation or his booking or his demeanor or tone or whatever it is, take something. And the one thing that you're going to learn is you're going to find your own style, but you want to take something from everybody that works, tweak it, implement it into your own personal style and brand and how you present yourself. And that's how you find your voice. That's how you find your flow. That's how you find your rhythm or really your stride, right? And so, Michael, that was super solid. I think the one thing that you do really, really well, man, is helping identify the client's why and spending 5 minutes there. Now, when you started, I'm assuming you didn't do that.
No, I didn't. I would say, Bob, why did you fill this out? He'd tell me he's looking for quotes. I'd go to the Americo app. I would write up 3 quotes, show it to him. He told me he wanted to think about it. And then I was like, okay, well, then here's my card. I'll expect a phone call back from you. Now it's none of that. Like, there's no card that's being left. Absolutely not. In no circumstance would I ever leave a card. That's a complete waste of paper. I mean, there's no shot. I'm saying if you fill it, we're either going to submit an application. And then if they give me a lot of pushback, I'm going to say, unfortunately, Bob, the only thing that the office allows me to do is either accept this. If you're not obviously, serious about protecting your family, then what we're going to do is fill out a refusal of coverage form stating that you refuse the coverage. And I fill that out. So,
and dude, the thing I think agents miss about that has so much power because now you're not in the middle, right? You don't have a decision. And were you scared to say that at first?
Dude, man, right? I thought they were gonna effing shoot me in the head, pick me up.
Right?
I was. But when I said it with, I think when you lead and you guide and you show them and you tell them, like Sean Mike says, you don't let them tell you what to do. You tell them what to do, and they feel that from you. A lot of times, more often times than not, they'll buy from you. And if they don't, then they know that you mean business and that you're not there to think about anything. There's nothing we're thinking about. This is the last time, we're either submitting an application for coverage or we're going to fill out a refusal of coverage form, just stating, you weren't too serious about putting protection in place for your family.
Yeah. So guys, print off a refusal form. Make sure you bring that in your bag every time, right? So if they're not applying for coverage, just like Michael said, hey, they allow me to do one of two things. Either I'm going to help you request coverage, or we're going to go ahead and deny coverage today. So did something change? Are you no longer serious about protecting your family? Right now, it's not you. You're put in a position of power because you're putting it back on them, right? And then, as long as you tie it back to the why, right? Hey, you said you wanted to protect your daughter, and if something happened to you, you want to make sure she's not worried, your family doesn't have to worry about the finances. Is that not important to you now? I mean, we just talked about this for the last 20 minutes. Well, it is. Well, I want to think about it. Well, what's there to think about? If you drove out here and got hit by a truck, the end result's the same, right? Yeah. So we don't even know if we can get you approved, right? So, Michael, any last things that you want to leave everybody off with today? Any last tips or advice? We have new agents on here. We have agents that are helping 5 to 10 families a month. We have some agents that are writing 10 to 15, looking to get to 20, etc. What would you leave with them?
Yeah, of course. So I would say the number one thing. Okay, so this is one key thing. Everybody on this call, whether everybody has experienced the thing about it. Every one of us. I experience it every day. Every day I have a client that wants to think about it. This is what I started utilizing this a couple months ago, and this has helped me so much. I say, so Bob, here's the thing. The insurance company is the one who makes the decision on whether you're approved or not. I'm not the decision maker. If it was up to us, we'd approve you right now. Unfortunately, that isn't our decision. I say, you thinking about getting coverage that you don't know that you can get is equivalent to me shopping around for a $500,000 home, not knowing if I can even get pre-approved for the loan. Does that make sense? Yeah. Every single time they'll say yes. 100% of the time they'll say yes. Oh, okay. I said, yeah. So let's at the very minimum see if we can get you approved. And then once you actually fill out the application and submit it, that's where I just cement the heck out of the sell. Like, look, you cancel this. You see me knocking on your door, you'll know why. Okay. And here's the thing, write down 3 reasons. You take a photo with the client, send the client photo of you and them to them. Say, thank you for allowing me to protect your family. Bam, you do all them things. You'll have good persistency, and also you'll be able to sell at a high level.
Well, Michael, there is no doubt in my mind. I see why you've helped so many families. I see why so many families trust you. I see why so many families believe in you. Number one, you say things with conviction. You have a purpose. You have a process. You've become a master of this business. You've become a master in kind of what we do, right? And so, dude, I'm so thankful for you to come on here and pour into our team. It was an honor and pleasure to meet you at the event. And dude, I know you're going to keep killing it here without a doubt. And if there's anything we can do to help you, your agency, please let us know. Definitely want to give back to you, man.
Yes, sir. Of course, man. Thank you so much for having me on. Definitely. When I build a big agency like you, man, I'll definitely have to get you on my call.
Anytime. Hey, if you guys found value in what Michael shared with us, go ahead and drop Sandman in the chat. Sandman, you're the man. Hey, all right, we're going to end that. Hey, brother, thank you so much for pouring into us. Thank you for sharing that out. You dropped a lot of gems, bro. So thank you.
Yes, sir, brother. I appreciate you having me on here. If we're gonna have to get on a call sometime. We got some questions regarding building, man. That's one thing I got to work on.
Let me know, man. I'd love to jump on and help any of your team and anything we can do, man. So keep crushing out there. I know it's dial day. I'll give you the rest of your time back because we got to match with the phones, bro.
Absolutely, man. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. Take care.